Well, that's a career. Coach K, what a fantastic career he had. Legendary. Arguably the best college coach of all time. And I have a really good memory of Coach K that I'm going to share next.
Welcome to the Sportscasters Club radio show, where it's all about becoming a better sportscaster and a better sports fan. And now, your host, a man who began his sportscasting career by sleeping on hotel floors during road trips, Rick Schultz.
Okie dokie, welcome to the Sportscasters Club online radio show. I am Rick Schultz. I really just couldn't let this time go by with the big news of Mike Krzyzewski retiring after a fantastic career. This being his last season, I couldn't let it go by without quickly recapping one of the highlights of my broadcasting career, and really a great example of Mike Krzyzewski the man. It was back in, what year was that? I broadcast Army basketball in 1999 and 2000. So I guess it was probably 2000, one of those 2 years. Army played down at Duke at Cameron Indoor Stadium. And I obviously knew of the connections. Mike Krzyzewski playing at Army and then coaching Army. And one of his players, his point guard at the time, was Pat Harris, who at the time I was broadcasting was now the coach at Army. So really this rich lineage going back from Coach K to the Army program when I was there. And it was an exciting time because that was a big trip for Army. It was earlier in the season, and we traveled down to North Carolina. And the day before the game, we were there for the shoot around and the all the normal routine things that you do the day before a basketball game. And one of the other all-time great guys in the sports business is John Feinstein. And he was writing a book that year about the Patriot League. Army played in the Patriot League. And John Feinstein was writing a book, and so he spent time with all the Patriot League teams that year, and he happened to be down there that day. And so I remember he gave me a ride over from the hotel over to Cameron Indoor Stadium. He said, "You want to go over? You want to go meet Coach K?" Now, I was 25 years old, 25, in my second year broadcasting for Army basketball. And I said, of course I would like to go. So, took me over, gave me a tour of the campus, a driving tour, showed me where he swam. Feinstein was a great athlete in his earlier days, and now the preeminent sports writer. As far as you want to pick up a great sports book, John Feinstein's got a million of them, and they're all tremendous. So he gives me the tour. He brings me over to Cameron Indoor Stadium. We go in. He introduces me to Coach K. He says, "Let's go in the office and talk." So we go in Coach K's office. They shut the door, and the three of us sit down and talk for about an hour. And the thing that reminded me of this yesterday was Chris Russo on his Mad Dog Unleashed program on Sirius XM radio. He was talking about a similar instance that he and his two sons had down at Duke. And it's a pattern with Coach K because he's always been someone that was very giving with his time. I think he understood what it meant when someone came to Duke to visit, to look around, to see what the program was all about, to experience Cameron Indoor Stadium for the first time. And I think he took it upon himself to be that ambassador and to make you feel as though you were at home. And that's the way he made me feel that day. And Chris Russo explained similar things when he talked about his story. But it was great because, we sat there in the office and talked about a lot of different things. Some of them had to do with college basketball. And then I conducted my pregame interview with Coach K, which I still have. You can hear I think, a clip of it from sportscastersclub.com. If you go to the About page, you'll hear me asking Coach K a question and his answer. But I never forgot that, and that was just a special moment in my career. I was 25 years old. And interestingly enough, it didn't end there. And I will tell you more when we come back.
If you're enjoying the show, check out our 7-hour online sports broadcasting course. We cover play-by-play, talk show hosting, television, and much more. Visit sportscastersclub.com and click on Online Sportscasting Class.
All right, so Coach K retiring after a marvelous career, leaving such a legacy at Duke and across the college basketball world. I am Rick Schultz, and I was just sharing one of my great memories in my sportscasting career. The first time that I ever interacted with Coach K down at Cameron Indoor Stadium in 2000. Actually, the more I think about it, I think it was 99. I'd have to look back at the schedules, but it was one of those 2 years. And as I said, it didn't end there, because even though he was so gracious of his time that day, over the years I had corresponded and wished the team well before the season started, maybe sent a letter or two down. And every time I got a letter back, a personal letter from Coach K, talking about this or that, mentioning a couple things. One year I was in Denver and he wrote back and had some comments about Denver, just some nice chit chat back and forth. So this was a person that took his role as a leader so seriously. On the court, he could be demanding of his players. Obviously, that's one of the key ingredients to so much success and the national titles and so many successful players that he had. But he also knew how important he was in the world of college basketball, and the importance he had and the impact he had on people on a day-to-day basis. And I think with a lot of the greats, they understood that. I mean, you hear that about Kobe too. He was someone who understood that. You look at some of the players across different sports now, and you can pick some, and you can say that guy gets it. He understands his place as an athlete and the impact that he can have, and he uses it for good. And Coach K was that way. Coach K was that way, still is. I got to know his family a bit during my time broadcasting for Army basketball. Just some great people, and so happy for them that the career has been just, so successful and so fulfilling for them. And I'm sure they've got some great things on the horizon still. And but just a great career. And I couldn't let another day go by without sharing that story of Coach K, because I've heard so many, and this was similar, but it was my own particular take and something that I'll never forget from my early days broadcasting. When I come back, I will wrap this episode up.
When you're done with this episode, or even if you want to open your browser now, you can go deeper and learn the secrets of sports broadcasting. Search our full list of books at sportscastersclub.com, available from Amazon and Kindle, paperback, and Audible format.
All right, so there you have it. That's one of the great stories from my early broadcasting career, my time at Army basketball, and the time that I spent an hour chatting with Coach K in his office. And Coach K, what a great career. What a great career. There will never be anyone like him on the sidelines. He left such a legacy, leaves such a legacy, and it's great to see him getting all the attention and the accolades that he deserves. I have the book, the Ian O'Connor book. I have the book. Looking forward to cracking it open and whipping through that book too, because I hear it's fantastic. Really appreciate you joining us today on the Sportscasters Club online radio show. I am Rick Schultz, and until next time, so long.
Thanks for listening to the Sportscasters Club radio show at sportscastersclub.com. Don't forget to subscribe so you will never miss an episode. And thanks for liking, sharing, posting reviews, and spreading the word.